Yo, hello YouTube, it's Deebz. Just posted my thoughts on the Andre Ward froch fight. What can we say? That was a brilliant performance from Ward. It was spectacular, and I'm a fan of Ward's, but even I didn't expect the win to be that one-sided. I did think Ward was going to win a decision, and I thought he was going to be wider than people expected, but I was not expecting that at all, so I was pleasantly surprised. One thing I noticed about Ward during this fight is his jab. His jab was just on point. He was catching froch in between froch's attempted combinations with Chris's jabs. He was varying the power of them. Some were snapping his head back, others were just touching him and scoring, which I thought that was a good touch by him. His jab was consistent the whole fight. Now, he's threw jabs before, and he does throw jabs in most of his fights, but I haven't seen it to this type of level where he just consistently throws it and throws it well. That was a nice surprise. I love jabs. I'm a fan of fighters that jab well, and he showed me that he's got a great jab game if he needs it. Another punch that froch was open for all night was the left hook. I don't know if Ward and his team sat down and discussed that, if that was part of the game plan or whatever, or if he just adapted on the fly, Mayweather-esque, and just saw that he was up for it, but he was landing the left hook at will all night. He hit froch with a left hook that stiffened his legs at one point in the fourth. It looked like it hurt froch a little bit, not terribly, but enough to show. Now, I scored this fight 11 rounds to Ward, and I can also argue that it was a complete 12-round shutout, but I gave Ward 11, 119 to 109. The round that I gave froch was at 12, only because Ward was not wasting time, but he was being smart. Instead of going for the knockout, he was just making sure he didn't get knocked out or knocked down. I think he was tiring a little bit, but not to the extent that he was in any real trouble. What you could visibly see him tiring a bit, and he knew that he won. He knew that he was convincingly ahead, and he was just tying up, moving, forcing froch to the ropes, and just staying there for a bit. Run down the clock, smart move, great boxing move, smart. So I gave him the 12, but only because of that, and I really did. I can see a shutout easily. You could even pull it around even, whatever. Now, one piece of scoring that I have a big problem with was the two judges that called it a 115, 130 win to Ward. I mean, what were they watching? To say that it was 115, 113 is terrible. The two guys should be fired. Me and UK Chud will take that job, won't we, fam? I don't know him. You don't know Deebz? I don't care. My man's good. I watch UK Sean's videos. He's the man still. I also watch The Wires. Red Eye. That's the man as well. They're my two main boxing guys. But anyway, off topic. The UK judge had it 118, 108, something like that, which was more towards what it should have been. Now, one thing I want to discuss is both fighters' punching powers. Froch was saying a lot during the build up to the fight that he didn't he knows that Ward can't hurt him, and he can thwart through his punches, and he has no fear of Ward's punches. Now, I think Ward suffers from the problem that Mayweather suffers from as well. They're not devastating KO punches. That's pretty much still in its own, but I do believe that they have more power than they're giving credit for. Because a fighter that has no power would just be bullied, basically. People just walk upon him, punch him up, and wouldn't feel no reprieve, no return fire, nothing. They wouldn't care. Ward and Mayweather hit solid enough to keep boxers honest, to keep them, to make them think before they come in. So his power is definitely above average to good. I think Froch would attest to that, because Ward did hurt him 2 times at least. He might say never, but you could see his legs stiffen up. You know he was hurt. And Froch, he's considered a big puncher, but as Dwyer, or it could have been UK One Chun, I'm not completely sure. I know it was one of them, and I thought it was a good point. Froch ain't knocked nobody out in 2 years when he knocked Jermaine Taylor out. And Jermaine Taylor has a history of fading late, so how much can you really take from that? In the Super 6 tournament, which has been on 2 years, he hasn't looked close to knocking out or knocking down any of the fighters. So does he have knockout power at an elite level? It's hard to tell. I would say he doesn't have devastating knockout power. What he does have is heavy hands and a strong punch, so he can knock you out if he hits you enough. That is my take on it. So where do both fighters go from here? Well, Ward, the world's his oyster, 168 super middleweight division to 175 light heavyweight division. He can fight anybody he wants. We were talking about Butte, but I'm not sold on Butte. I don't think he's the best super middleweight in the world. I think he needs to fight more people to be worthy to fight Ward, to be honest with you. But some people think he's second or even first. I don't know how you'd think that, but some people do. So that's a viable option. Also, Hopkins and Durrell, but they're both his friends. Hopkins and Durrell, who said he wouldn't be in a rush to fight Hopkins. He said that during the build up to the final, but he would if the price was right and it made sense. I think it's probably the same with Durrell. Even though they're friends, they would fight if price is right and all that. Okay, I believe Froch coming into this fight thinking he would be able to bully Ward, not beat him on the inside game, but when Ward came in, he would be able to push him around, out-muscle him, which didn't end up being the case, but I think that was part of the game plan. I also think one thing I do like about Froch was that even when he was getting outboxed and outfought at points, he went for broke when he knew he needed the knockout. He was swinging away, throwing punches and bunches, and really trying to knock Ward out. He never looked like he was going to get it, and Ward didn't seem to be troubled, but he tried. He was punching. Even though he was missing, he was punching, so you can't fault him for that. I think they say he threw more, but Ward had a higher percentage, which you could see that anyway. That wasn't a surprise. Froch does quite a few fights. Even though he lost, he could fight Kessler, try and avenge his other loss. He could fight Durrell. People were saying that was close. I thought Durrell won 115, 113, but he could fight Durrell again. There's a few fights that they could fight Pascal. They verbally agreed to have a rematch down the line, so he could fight Pascal. He can fight Pascal. He could fight Cleverly. We would fight Cleverly. That'd be a good domestic fight. Speaking of domestic, the Gale and Groves, I don't think that would be good for them too, but he could. Also Butte, maybe for Butte to build himself up before he fights Ward. Not sure if he would get past Froch, but it would be a good fight on his resume if he wants to fight Ward. Yeah. Well, Ward just showed us something really special. He's been fighting world class fighters during his whole supersix tournament, and to be honest with you, he's made them look not shit. Not shit, I'm not gonna say shit. But he's made them look not to the level that they are. And that's a sign of a great fighter right there. Sky's the limit for Andre SOG Ward. And I do believe he will be in the pound for pound ranking. Well, he's in a lot of them already, but I do believe you will see him a lot higher in coming days and weeks. Thanks for your time. Look out for my videos. I will make it more. The Deebz show. That's what my show is called. If you like the video, like it, comment, subscribe. Thanks for your time. Bye YouTube. See you lot soon. It's late, I'm tired, I'm gonna get some sleep. I will be posting a video about the Kell Brook fight, but that'll probably be tomorrow or in the week. So yeah, gone again.